guys, it's Amy here, and today I bring you my November wrap-up. In November I read 6 books and 1 graphic novel, so I'm going to talk about those with you today. The first 2 books I read is part of a reread I'm doing at the moment of the Harry Potter series, and I read The Chamber of Secrets and The Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm not going to go into what these are about because I'm sure you already know, and if you don't then you should definitely go and read them. The Chamber of Secrets is probably my least favourite film, but I did actually really enjoy rereading the book, and The Prisoner of Azkaban is my favourite book and favourite film, so I really enjoyed that, and I'm about to start the Goblet of Fire today. I don't know if I even really need to say it, but I gave these both 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was one that I was sent from Lucy at Orion Books, and it is Sophie's World by Jostein Gaarder. I'd had this book on my wishlist for a really long time, and so I was really quite pleased when I was contacted about it and asked if I wanted to read it. It follows the story of a girl named Sophie who starts receiving little notes with questions written on in her letterbox, and these questions are kind of big life questions. What does life mean and things like that, and she starts querying the world, basically. The story goes on, she learns that the notes in her letterbox are being left by a man named Alberto Knox, who is a philosopher, and he starts giving her a philosophy course through her letterbox, giving her pages and pages of stuff to read and everything. It's really interesting, and I don't really want to say any more because it will kind of give away the excitement and intrigue in this book. So you read through Sophie's perspective and you learn about her life, but then also these pages from the philosopher are getting put in as well, so you're reading lots of stuff to do with philosophy. So this is a great one if you are thinking of going to study philosophy or anything, like A-levels. I think this would probably be something that you would be suggested to read anyway. Like, I learned a lot from this book. I had to take it kind of in small doses because sometimes my brain just got a bit overwhelmed by all the information. It is a lot to take in. I had lots of little sticky notes there because there were lots of bits that I just really liked and found really interesting, all the different kind of theories that these philosophers had that I had no idea about because I've never studied philosophy and never really had an interest in looking into it, to be honest. So this was just really an eye-opener for me, and I found it really good. This book is a lot more complex than what I've just described. It is very, very deep and lets you think about a lot of different things, so I would definitely recommend if you have any interest in this. Also, come the end, you just, oh my goodness, like my whole brain was just twisted up. It was just ridiculous. This book I read this month was How to Be a Woman by Moran. This is a memoir type anecdotal story, humorous book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. There were parts of it that I didn't really get because I think Moran's around 40 years old, so some of the references and things she was making and the kind of cultural references I just didn't get because I'm not 40 years old and I didn't live through that time. I didn't completely agree with everything she said in the book. Some of the stuff I just didn't share opinions with her on, and I found that to be a really interesting thing. I quite enjoyed that, actually. I think if I read a book where I completely agreed with everything the person was saying, then maybe I wouldn't kind of use my thoughts and philosophies and feelings on things as much. Like, some of the stuff I was kind of disagreeing on, and I liked that. I liked that it was making me think about things more. So overall I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, and I would highly recommend to anyone. I think anyone who read this book could have some interesting thoughts from the stuff that Moran was saying. The next book I read in November was one of my favourites of the month, and it was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This book was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it a lot more than Wuthering Heights, although I really enjoyed Wuthering Heights, so that's saying something. This book was really great. Mr. Rochester, oh my goodness, I really need to watch a TV adaptation or a film adaptation of it. If you've got any recommendations, let me know down below because I thought this book was fantastic. I'm not going to go deep into my thoughts today because I'm going to do a Bronte discussion video on all 3 books once I've finished The Tenant of Woodville Hall by Anne Bronte, which I'm reading at the moment, so look out for that in the future. That will be coming soon, and I will share my thoughts on all of these books. Needless to say, this one I gave 5 out of 5 stars, and it has gone into my favourites for the year. An ultimate book I read this month was a reread for me, and it was The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I read this first when I was 15 years old, so I was a little worried picking it up now when I'm 23 that I wouldn't have the same kind of strong love towards it, because I really enjoyed it when I was 15. And I finished it yesterday, and it was so good. It was just as good, and I really, really loved it. And this is definitely one of my favourite books, I think I might have to say. I will definitely be rereading again in the future. It makes me sad because quite often when I suggest this book to people and they hear that it's written by the same author as the Twilight series, they quite often say to me, oh no, I'm not sure I want to read that because the Twilight series is quite, you know, problematic and it's not very good and all this. And yes, okay, I read Twilight when I was 14. I really enjoyed it at the time. I'm not sure I would enjoy it so much now, But this book is so different, it's like it's written by another author. So this book follows the story of an alien species who come to planet Earth and take over all the bodies of the humans living on the planet. They kind of go in through the back of their necks and take over the bodies. Usually when this happens, the humans then just disappear and the aliens are able to take over the body. At the beginning of this book, we meet Melanie, who is a human fighting against these aliens, and unfortunately, she gets one of these aliens put into the back of her neck. This alien is called Wanderer, and when Wanderer kind of comes around inside Melanie's body, she discovers that Melanie is still there. She hasn't just disappeared like she's meant to. She is there and she is fighting for her body. She wants to stay there, obviously. She wants her body. She doesn't want this alien inside there with her. They're kind of battling within Melanie's mind, and throughout the book you have their conversations with each other inside Melanie's head, which is really good. I really like that aspect of this book. So eventually Wanderer and Melanie are a team on the same side and end up trying to find Melanie's brother and boyfriend who have gone missing. The book is really, really great. The idea behind it is fantastic. The philosophy from these aliens and the way that they run the planet when they are in control of everything, and then the view of these humans and just what it means to be human, what it means to have a body, what it means to love someone, and physical appearance and things like that. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars and I would highly recommend to all. The last book I read this month was a graphic novel, and it was Rat Queens Volume 1. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It basically follows the story of these 4 girls here who are known as the Rat Queens, who are out fighting monsters and things like that. I think the art style is actually one of my favourites so far. If you've been on my channel for this year, you'll know that I've actually only started reading graphic novels this year, so this I think is definitely one of my favourites. I'm not sure if Volume 2 is out already or if I'm going to have to wait for it, but I'm definitely going to be picking it up at some point soon. Those are all the books I read in November. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books and if you enjoyed them or what you've been reading in November. As always, I will leave links to Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, everything I mentioned today down below. I hope you're all having a fantastic day and I will see you soon. Bye! Slump, you're not in for much fun, and slumping yourself is not easily done. Beautiful pictures and a beautiful message. I really do love this book and I'm really thankful for it. I know